The lawsuit came like lightning. In mid-2022, Kendall Jenner was faced with an explosive accusation. His brand new brand, 818 Tequila, was being sued for allegedly copying the identity of another smaller tequila company. How is it possible that one of the most recognizable celebrities, with such a successful product, ended up at the center of a legal battle for trademark plagiarism? The answer reveals a more complex and darker truth behind the brilliance of Kendall's tequila, a story of meteoric rise, cultural controversies, and disputes over originality that many are unaware of. The rise of premium tequila and Kendall's leap. To understand the background, you have to go back to May 2021, when Kendall Jenner released 818 Tequila. Named after the area code for Calabasas, 818, its home in Los Angeles, the brand debuted amid a wave of celebrity tequilas. Skeptics abounded. Another celebrity selling liquor? Critics and fans wondered. But Jenner insisted that she had been working for almost 4 years to create the best tasting tequila. From day one, 818 opted for a premium approach. Quality tequila, elegant marketing, and a carefully constructed image. There were also voices that pointed to a deeper problem. The rise of celebrity-backed tequila brands could be having a negative impact on the tequila industry itself and its workers. In the last decade, demand for tequila skyrocketed globally, driven in part by the brilliance of famous names. This has contributed to a shortage of agave, tequila's base plant, raising its prices astronomically. Small local producers have warned that the cost of agave has risen by about 1,000% in 20 years, making it difficult for it to survive. Meanwhile, the peasants who cut and harvest the agave, the jimadores, continue to earn low wages, practically without benefiting from the boom. To make matters worse, the rush to meet demand has led some to harvest agaves that are too young, 3 or 4 years old, instead of waiting the ideal 7 to 8 years, compromising the quality of the drink and forcing the hand with additives. The meteoric rise of 818. But here's the surprising thing. Despite initial reviews and calls for a boycott, 818 Tequila became a smashing success almost overnight. The quality of the product received recognition in international competitions, and consumers seemed willing to try the bottle sponsored by the supermodel. In the first 7 months after its launch, 818 managed to distribute about 136,000 cases of tequila, a staggering number for a new brand. By the end of 2022, the cumulative sales of 818 Tequila exceeded $25 million, according to data reported in the financial press. The company quickly climbed positions among the fastest-growing premium tequila brands in the United States. Jenner and his team proved to have a clever strategy behind glamorous marketing. At the beginning of 2024, for example, they made the decision to adjust the price of 818 slightly downwards, making it more accessible to their young audience. Far from devaluing the brand, this move expanded its customer base and skyrocketed sales even more. Mike Novi, CEO of the parent company, Calabasas Beverage Company, boasted that in January 2024, the sales of 818 grew by 65% compared to the previous year, a rate much higher than that of the tequila market in general. Throughout 2024, the brand maintained double-digit growth in volume, consolidating its place in the competitive spirits sector. Success was not only measured in dollars, but also in qualitative achievements. Since its founding, 818 Tequila has won more than 40 awards in prestigious beverage competitions, including the Best Reposado Tequila Award at the World Tequila Awards. These accolades helped silence some critics. Kendall's tequila had expert backing. It wasn't just a mediocre product with a famous name. In addition, the company began to build a reputation for social and environmental responsibility that is rare in the industry. In March 2023, 818 obtained the coveted B Corp certification, which distinguishes companies committed to high standards of positive impact. Its distillery in Jalisco operates largely with solar energy and biomass to reduce emissions. The bottles are made with recycled glass, and the labeling uses certified sustainable paper. They even launched an innovative initiative to reuse agave waste. In collaboration with a local NGO, 818 converted post-production agave fibers and clay soil into adobe bricks that are donated to build homes and a community library in the tequila region. In the words of a distillery executive, "We want to honor the centuries-old tradition of tequila and do something special for Mexico's heritage," reflecting that behind the brand there is an effort to respectfully integrate into the culture that inspires it. With sales booming, prizes in hand, and a sustainability narrative underway, 818 Tequila seemed unstoppable. By mid-2023, it had already expanded internationally. Its arrival in the UK was an instant success, selling 150% above projections in its first 2 weeks in British stores, and subsequently landed in markets such as Australia with similar enthusiasm. Analysts predicted the company would close 2025 with more than $55 million in revenue and about 200,000 cases sold that year, numbers that would put it on par with celebrity-backed tequila titans. Apparently, Kendall Jenner had managed to turn a questioned project into a profitable and growing empire. The Tequila 512 versus 818 lawsuit. But while 818 toasted his good fortune, not everyone was celebrating. In the shadows, a smaller competitor was preparing his counterattack. From Austin, Texas, about 2,200 miles from the glamorous Los Angeles clubs where 818 shone, the Tequila 512 company watched Jenner's rise with concern and soon indignation. Tequila 512, named after its city's area code, 512 is Austin's phone code, had been on the market since 2015, many years before Kendall even conceived the idea of owning a tequila of her own. Its founder, a local enthusiast, had struggled to stand out in the Texas craft spirit scene, even getting his tequila gold medals in competitions. However, from one day to the next, he found himself competing with a multi-million-dollar brand that, in his eyes, was taking too much inspiration from its own product. The similarities were hard to ignore. Both brands used phone area numbers as their names, a rare concept in the industry. More strikingly, the 818 bottle sported a large yellow box with black numbers on the front, a design very similar to the logo and main label with the distinctive yellow background that Tequila 512 had used for years. Even the font of the numbers bore a strange resemblance. For the founders of 512, that could no longer be a coincidence. Kendall's brand, with all its budget and supposed creative advisors, had ended up launching something almost carbon copy of the visual identity that 512 worked hard to build. Thus, at the end of February 2022, Tequila 512 decided to take the matter to court. He filed a lawsuit in a California court formally accusing 818 Tequila of trademark infringement and unfair competition. In the legal complaint, 512 claimed that 818 blatantly copied the branding of Tequila 512 instead of developing its own original image. They listed point by point the coincidences: the use of area codes as a name, 818 versus 512, the label design with a front yellow rectangle, a similar color palette and practically identical topographies. In essence, they argued that the packaging of 818 caused confusion among consumers, leading them to think that there was some commercial connection between the two bottles, or even that 818 was a new line of Tequila 512 itself, when it was not. For Tequila 512, it wasn't just about pride or aesthetics. There were potential economic losses and damage to their brand at stake. Austin's tequila, being smaller, feared being overshadowed by Jenner's powerful marketing machine. If shoppers confused the products, it could dilute 512 brand recognition in the long run. In court documents, the Texas company stressed that this risk of brand dilution was especially serious considering that 818 had a celebrity with a global reach behind it. Any errors or controversies tied to 818 could inadvertently splash 512's reputation due to the similarity between the two names and images. The dispute took an even more curious turn when the virtual world came into play. The lawsuit mentioned an unusual episode in the mobile video game Kim Kardashian Hollywood, starring Kendall's sister. Within that game, users could have their characters buy a virtual bottle of 818 tequila for their avatars. But incredibly, according to the lawsuit, The graphic image used in the game to represent the bottle of 818 was none other than a photo of a real bottle of tequila, 512. 512's lawyers presented this as evidence of the confusion that the resemblance between the two brands had generated even among digital content developers. To them, either someone from Kendall's team deliberately inserted the image of 512 to continue to blur the line between the two products, or else the resemblance was so great that the game's designers took the photo believing it was Jenner's tequila. Either of the two options was quite compromising. In one case, it would insinuate a dirty play of 818, and in the other, it would show that not even the professionals could distinguish one bottle from the other. Suddenly, Kendall Jenner faced a serious and unexpected problem in her business adventure. 818 Tequila was under legal fire, accused of being unoriginal and even tapping into the creative work of a smaller entrepreneur. How did Jenner's company respond? Publicly, 818 denied any ill intent. Its legal representatives argued that the area numbers are free to use and that no tequila can exclusively appropriate a color or a minimalist style of label. Basically, they argued that 818 had chosen the name because of Kendall's personal connection to 818 Calabasas, and that the clean and modern design of its bottles was a general aesthetic widely used in premium spirits, with no intention of copying anyone. Even so, behind closed doors, 818 had to calculate his steps carefully. A litigation of this type could last for years and stain the image of the brand in the middle of a growth phase. Imagine the situation. The tabloid press already had material for juicy headlines. Kendall Jenner's tequila sued for plagiarism, something that Jenner and his team no doubt wanted to avoid at all costs. In addition, in the worst-case scenario, if 512 won the lawsuit, 818 could have been forced to change its name or completely redesign its packaging, a devastating blow after investing millions in positioning. After several months of legal comings and goings, discreet negotiations, and not a little tension, the resolution finally arrived. In November 2022, Tequila 512 announced that it had reached an agreement with 818 Tequila. The founder of 512 told the media, including TMZ, that the companies agreed that each will have the right to use their existing names, but that both will make changes to their labels to make it clear that they are not related to each other. In essence, they agreed to a truce of sorts. Kendall Jenner could continue to use the 818 brand for her tequila, and 512 would retain its original name, but 818 would make slight adjustments to the design of its bottles in the future to prevent anyone from confusing them again. This likely involved subtle modifications in the color tone or in the arrangement of the text on the 818 label, enough to better differentiate the products on the shelf. For the little Tequila 512, that was a moral and practical victory. He managed to protect his brand identity without entering into a protracted war against an adversary with much deeper pockets. For Kendall and 818, the deal meant a huge weight was lifted off their shoulders. They dodged a potential PR disaster and were able to move forward with their business, sacrificing just a few aesthetic details. Of course, the lesson was learned. Next time, Jenner's team will be more careful about how they conceptualize their branding so they don't step on the competition's toes, and avoid the irony of being accused of a lack of originality, just the opposite of the innovative image they want to project. The ghost of cultural appropriation. However, it was not all celebration. Almost immediately, an adverse reaction broke out on social networks and the media. In promotional photos for the release, Kendall appeared on horseback in agave fields, with braids in her hair and a ranchero hat, evoking traditional Mexican aesthetics. For many, that was a flagrant case of cultural appropriation. Kendall Jenner launches a tequila without having a connection to Mexican culture, and on top of that, she dresses up to promote it, indignant comments claimed. On Twitter and Instagram, users questioned whether another Anglo-Saxon billionaire was monetizing an emblematic product of Mexico without being part of that community. The Kardashian-Jenner family already had a history of controversies over appropriation, from clothes to hairstyles, and Kendall's foray into the tequila industry seemed, for many, another transgression. Celebrities are exploiting a heritage of Mexico, was the feeling of many critics, concerned that this liquid gold would become a victim of greed and fashion. With 818, Kendall Jenner almost unwittingly became the face of that trend. Her enormous fame caused the attention and indignation to be focused on her more than on other celebrities who also had their own tequilas. Within hours of 818's announcement, talk of cultural appropriation flooded the networks. Some wondered, why so much anger with Kendall if she was not the first or the only one? The answer lay in the reach of its platform. With more than 150 million followers on Instagram, Jenner had much greater power of influence than others. His tequila would not go unnoticed. On the contrary, it became a symbol of everything debatable in this fashion of celebrity tequilas. The business behind the scandal. Once this obstacle is overcome, one would think that the road to 818 tequila would once again be as sunny as the agave fields in Jalisco. In many ways it is. Sales continue to go strong. The brand continues to expand into new territories. And Kendall Jenner has accomplished something few expected, building a respected company in the spirits industry. But the controversy surrounding 818 was never completely extinguished. In reality, the story of 818 has two sides. On the one hand, it's a modern business success story, combining the power of a global celebrity with a traditional product and making it successful with shrewd marketing, impressive numbers, and some sense of purpose, at least environmentally. On the other hand, it exposes the cultural and ethical tensions of this model. Questions about the appropriation of cultural elements for profit, about the authenticity of a tequila created under the tutelage of a reality TV star, and about the real impact that this type of business has on the original community where the tequila comes from. A little-known detail is that 818 tequila, despite all the artisanal, small-batch narrative that its advertising may suggest, is produced in a large-scale distillery that makes tequila for numerous brands. In fact, 818 leaves the facilities of La Cofradía, a distillery in Jalisco identified with the registration number NOM 1137, which also produces other labels, several of them linked to famous figures. This is not unusual in the industry. Many brands share a distillery. However, some tequila purists point out that the real difference between many celebrity tequilas is less than they appear. In the case of 818, the company has defended the quality of its process. They assure that they select agaves of optimal maturation, use traditional methods, such as brick ovens and Tahona mills, and take care of their own blends and aging to give a unique profile to the distillate. Even so, the feeling that behind the luxury label there is a tequila similar to that of other cheaper brands persists among certain connoisseurs. It's a perks of entering such a traditional terrain with the strength of pop marketing. It gains a lot of attention, but also relentless scrutiny. The future of 818 and Kendall. Ultimately, Kendall Jenner's journey with 818 tequila reflects what it's like to launch a product being one of the most watched figures on the planet. Spectacular triumphs and bitter criticism happen in parallel. In just a few years, 818 went from being a questioned idea to a benchmark in the tequila market, with millionaire sales and a global presence. Kendall knew how to capitalize on his fame in an area outside his fashion world, learning on the fly from tequila masters, partnering with expert distillers, and putting his own touch on the creation of a tequila that bears the seal of his identity. Literally, his area code. But that same rapid growth set off alarms about the cultural and economic impact of his venture. Today, 818 Tequila continues to navigate those waters, toasting to the celebrations of its fans while responding to the concerns of its detractors. And what's the dark truth behind Kendall Jenner's tequila? Perhaps it's a reminder that behind the glamorous facade of a famous brand, there are stories of inspiration and controversy intertwined. It is the realization that no success comes without challenges. Kendall entered an industry with centuries of tradition and shook it up in a few years. He won money, prizes, and headlines, but he also faced responsibility for how his actions impact others. In the end, 818 Tequila is both a lucrative business and a case study. It shows us the power of modern influence, an influencer becoming a liquor tycoon overnight, while also exposing the risks of playing with cultural symbols and rivaling smaller pioneers. History continues to be written with each new agave harvest and each bottle sold. For now, Kendall Jenner has shown that she can innovate beyond the catwalks and reality shows and has turned criticism into fuel to fine-tune her project. But the world will be watching closely his next steps. In the competitive and revered universe of tequila, earning a rightful spot costs far more than toasting with a beautiful bottle. It requires respect, originality, and perseverance, and only time will tell if 818 Tequila will continue to elevate its legacy or if it will remain as a passing curiosity in the long history of this Mexican distillate.